The Boeing 757 was a powerhouse, sleek, efficient, and adored by pilots for the way it handled. But here's the twist most people don't know: it wasn't born alone. In the late 1970s, Boeing quietly developed a secret sibling, the 767, right alongside it. The two jets shared cockpits, avionics, and design DNA, almost like twins sent out on different missions. One became a narrow-body workhorse, the other a wide-body pioneer. This is the untold family story of Boeing's most overlooked pair. The 70s hit airlines hard. Oil prices soared, profits shrank, and passengers demanded more. As a result, airlines weren't merely shopping for airframes, they were hunting for efficiency. Boeing stood at a crossroads. Should they push the old 727 further or gamble on something entirely new? They chose to gamble. Out of that decision came two aircraft that would change aviation's story. One was a wide-body, codenamed the 7X7, later revealed to be the Boeing 767. The other, a leaner narrow-body known as the 7N7, became the Boeing 757. High bypass ratio turbofans were rewriting propulsion, lightweight materials were trimming ounces everywhere, and new aerodynamics promised cleaner lift and longer legs. In this crucible, Boeing vowed a step change, about 20% lower fuel burn than the 727 from engines alone, with another 10% carved out by sharper aerodynamics. More thrust, higher weights, and better short-field performance would unlock new routes and difficult airports. The future, they believed, belonged to smart power. However, the design choices soon proved to be the hard lessons of the era. Early 7N7 concepts wore a 727-style T-tail, but Boeing pivoted to a conventional tail and a wider aft fuselage, more seats, less drag, and no flirtation with deep stall risks. Underwing engines cleaned up maintenance and improved performance. The 757-100 was sketched and then erased. No orders, no future, while the 200 became the workhorse. Meanwhile, the 7X7 matured into the twin-aisle 767, carrying the same DNA but aimed at different missions. The program had cross-crew qualification, which meant airlines could train once and deploy across both types, a quiet masterstroke in the economics of fleets. By the close of the 70s, the secret was out. The 757 and 767 weren't improvisations, they were a coordinated strike on cost and capability. Two airframes, one strategy, born from the same house, and built to carry aviation into its next act. What makes the story more dramatic is the engine war that became the heartbeat of the 757 story. Three giants entered: General Electric, Pratt & Whitney, and Rolls-Royce. GE bowed out early for lack of demand, leaving a duel, America versus Britain, fought in pounds of trust and promises of reliability. Rolls-Royce brought the RB211, a high-bypass thoroughbred delivering roughly 37,400 pounds of thrust. Pratt & Whitney answered with the PW2037, rated around 38,200 pounds. On paper, the numbers were close. In the boardrooms, the choice was historic. Eastern Airlines and British Airways launched the 757 on August 31, 1978, and chose Rolls-Royce. For the first time, a Boeing airliner would launch with engines built outside the US. 2 years later, Delta came thundering in with 60 airplanes powered by Pratt & Whitney, ensuring both engine lines would define the type. When it came to cabin design, the 757 and 767 carried their sibling rivalry from the tarmac into the passenger experience. Both were born from the same Boeing philosophy: efficiency, comfort, and adaptability, but they expressed it in very different ways. The 757, as a narrow-body, was configured with a single aisle and up to 6 seats across in economy, 3x3. Business class, when fitted, usually came in a 2x2 layout, but the story didn't end there. By the late 90s, the 757-300 introduced a refreshed interior, sculpted ceiling panels, indirect lighting, and redesigned overhead bins that could swallow larger carry-ons with ease. This new look wasn't exclusive to the stretched 300. Boeing quickly made it available as an option for the new 757-200s, bringing a modernized feel to its workhorse fleet. The 767, on the other hand, was Boeing's wide-body twin, built for medium to long-haul routes. Its cabin offered 7 to 8 seats parallel in economy, most commonly a 2x3x2 layout. This wasn't just about numbers, it was about passenger experience. That 2x3x2 setup meant nearly 87% of all seats had direct access to either a window or an aisle, an unusually high ratio for economy travel, ensuring no passenger was ever more than 1 seat away from the aisle. Premium economy and business class brought flexible layouts ranging from 2x2x2 to the luxurious 1x2x1. The 767 also led the way in passenger amenities. Larger overhead bins and a greater toilet-to-passenger ratio compared to other jets gave it a reputation for comfort. Then came the leap forward in 2000, the Boeing signature interior, first installed on the 767-400ER. With sweeping sculpted panels, indirect mood lighting, and even larger overhead bins, the aircraft gained a modern, spacious atmosphere. The 767-400ER also introduced larger windows, further connecting passengers to the sky outside. Together, the 757 and 767 cabins told the story of Boeing's dual strategy. The 757 offered narrow-body efficiency with just enough flair to keep passengers comfortable, while the 767 delivered wide-body spaciousness and innovation. Two aircraft designed for different markets, yet forever linked by Boeing's evolving vision of what flying should feel like. Before we discover what made the 757 truly unique, how about you take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Jet Logic, your place for all of the amazing yet untold stories from the world of aviation. "12 years after its production line fell silent, the Boeing 757 refused to fade silently into history. Born in the late 70s as a bridge between narrow-bodies and wide-bodies, the so-called tweener still commands loyalty from airlines and air forces alike. The Royal New Zealand Air Force employs two as VIP transports. Delta Airlines, even while investing in newer jets, chose to refurbish its 757 fleet rather than replace it. For a plane Boeing stopped building in 2004, its staying power borders on the uncanny. In its prime, the 757 was never a blockbuster seller. Just over 1,000 orders across 2 decades, a respectable total, but hardly runaway success. Yet the secret of the 757 was never about sales figures. It was about capability. With its powerful engines, high thrust-to-weight ratio, and remarkable runway performance, it could leap into the sky in under 4,000 feet and climb straight to cruising altitude, something the newer 737 MAX can only envy. Transatlantic runs, domestic hauls, high-altitude departures, the 757 took them all in stride. It was a narrow body with the heart of a wide body, and that's why, even today, comparisons to the 737 feel almost unfair. The 737's lineage dates back to the 60s. Its design was meant for short hops, not oceanic crossings. Modern stretches and larger engines have pushed it to its limits, constrained by landing gear too short to accommodate anything bigger. The 757, by contrast, was overbuilt, muscle to spare, range to roam. Pilots speak of it with awe, passengers recall its reach, and airlines see profitability in places other jets stumble. Of course, the 757 had its flaws. Boarding a 6 across a single aisle in a fuselage that long could be sluggish. And then there's its notorious wake turbulence, so powerful that controllers often give it spacing more akin to a 747, but what lingers is its versatility. As author and pilot Patrick Smith once said, the 757 was unmatched. It could do what no other narrowbody dared. Somewhere along the way, Boeing missed the chance to re-engine and modernize it. Instead, the company doubled down on stretching the 737, a jet not designed for the 757's missions. So here lies the family secret. The 757 was too good for its time. Not quite a narrowbody, not quite a widebody. It slipped into a niche no aircraft has truly filled since. It served faithfully, performed brilliantly, and when it left the stage in 2004, it left behind a void. Even today, airlines cling to it, hoping for a worthy successor. The truth? There still isn't one. The Boeing 767 wasn't just another jet. It was a quiet revolution disguised in metal and glass. When it rolled out, it rewrote the rules of what a widebody could be, carrying with it innovations that would ripple through aviation for decades. First came the cockpit. Gone was the flight engineer's station that had been standard in big jets. In its place, Boeing's first true glass cockpit with digital screens replacing a maze of dials. 2 pilots, no extra crew, and a streamlined workflow that cut costs while pushing the industry into a new era. This wasn't just modern, it was groundbreaking. Then there was the design choice that seemed almost unthinkable at the time, a wide-body airliner with only 2 engines. Up to that point, long-haul flying had been the realm of 3 and 4-engine giants, but the 767, paired with new ETOPS certification, changed that forever. Suddenly, a twin jet could cross the Atlantic with confidence, opening up routes that had once been out of reach. It was bold, risky, and in hindsight, completely transformative. And at its core, the 767 carried a new philosophy: efficiency. Everything about it was tuned to save fuel and cut costs, long before fuel burn became the buzzword it is today. It introduced a new wing, carried LD-2 cargo containers with ease, and could swap roles between passenger and freight duty seamlessly. This wasn't just an airliner, it was a shapeshifter. The legacy of the 767 lies in its balance. It could fly domestic hops or stretch across oceans, serve business travelers in comfort, or haul freight for global commerce. It proved that smart design could replace brute force, and in doing so, it quietly set the template for the modern jet age. The family secret? The 767 wasn't just ahead of its time, it redefined what time in aviation even meant. When the Boeing 767 first entered service in 1982, it reshaped the world of long-haul travel with its twin-engine efficiency and unmatched adaptability. But tucked within its legacy is a rare jewel, the Boeing 767-300, which was converted and customized by some carriers as a VIP business-class travel service. This isn't just a wide-body airliner, it's a flying boardroom, a skybound retreat, and a symbol of what happens when elite comfort meets proven performance. Unlike standard configurations, most airliners laid out the 767-300 in an exclusive all-business class format. 82 fully lie-flat seats were arranged in a 2x1x2 configuration, split between a forward cabin of 21 and a main cabin of 61. A bulkhead creates privacy up front, perfect for team managers, CEOs, or A-list performers, while the rest of the cabin delivers consistent luxury for the larger group. Two full-size galleys, one in the middle and one at the rear, allow for full hot meals and snacks to be served seamlessly, even on ultra-long missions. The aircraft isn't just about comfort, it's about reach. With built-in crew rest pods and ETOPS 180 certification, the 767-300 can fly non-stop for 11 to 12 hours with confidence. That makes it ideal for groups of up to 100 passengers who don't want to compromise on either comfort or time. Whether it's a professional sports team flying home after a decisive match, a film cast and crew moving between international shoots, or a corporate delegation traveling together in style, the customized 767-300 VIPs could deliver a consistent premium experience from the first boarding call to touchdown. In an era where business-class only charters are becoming more common, the re-engineered 767-300 VIP doesn't just follow the trend, it sets the benchmark. It combines the proven bones of Boeing's legendary widebody with the intimacy and uniform service of a private charter. The result? A long-haul journey that's not just about getting there, but arriving rested, connected, and ready. If you're enjoying this already, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Jet Logic. It would really motivate us to come up with another story of an aviation marvel. Boeing's 757 and 767 programs tell two different customer stories, even though they were developed side by side. The 757 secured a total of 1,050 orders, with a staggering 87% of those for the 757-200. Its appeal lay in flexibility. Large US carriers embraced it for domestic trunk routes, but once ETOPS certification came through, the jet proved itself on transatlantic and other intercontinental missions. Today, Delta and American Airlines stand out as the largest operators still flying this narrow-body powerhouse, keeping the type alive decades after production ended. The 767, meanwhile, grew into something bigger, both literally and figuratively. Boeing received about 1,346 total orders, including hundreds for freighter and tanker versions. The star of the family was the 767-300ER, making up 43% of all deliveries, or an even larger 60% when looking only at commercial jet variants. Operators of the 767 span the globe. Air Astana, ANA, Austrian, Delta, Ethiopian, Iceland Air, JAL, LATAM, and United remain loyal to the type. In terms of orders over time, the 767 enjoyed a longer production window and broader success. Its peak came in 1989, coinciding with its landmark 180-minute ETOPS certification. That achievement allowed it to dominate the early 1990s as the most common airliner on transatlantic routes, replacing four-engine heavies with a twin that airlines trusted. Where the 757 was a flexible specialist, the 767 was the workhorse that rewrote how airlines thought about long-haul flying. Despite production stopping in October 2004 with the final jet delivered to Shanghai Airlines in November 2005, the 757 never truly disappeared. So why is the 757 leaving us? The reasons are as practical as they are inevitable. Declining demand, particularly after 9/11, played a major role in the program's end as carriers shifted to smaller models. The 757, once the go-to workhorse for airlines around the world, is now bowing out of the spotlight. Age and efficiency have finally caught up with it, and carriers are turning to newer jets like the Airbus A321neo and Boeing 737 MAX to take over its legacy. In early 2025, Jet2 closed the chapter on the 757 in the UK, flying its last passenger service and marking the end of an era. Over in Germany, Condor is following close behind, with its 757s set to vanish from schedules by the end of summer 2025. Even Delta, one of the type's biggest champions, is lining up sleek A321neos to fill the gap by 2028. FedEx, too, is pushing the jet aside, retiring its 757 freighters in the name of leaner operations. Maintenance is heavier, parts scarcer, and the numbers just don't add up anymore. For airlines chasing modern fleet strategies, the 757 is becoming a nostalgic luxury rather than a financial asset. Its retirement isn't just about age, it's the industry moving forward, leaving behind a jet that once rewrote the rules of mid-range flying. Most airlines aim to refresh their fleets with the newest aircraft available. Next-gen jets bring fuel efficiency, lowering per-flight costs and boosting profit margins. But acquiring these aircraft comes with hefty price tags, while older planes are often fully paid off, making them cheaper to operate. US carriers in particular excel at extending the lifespans of their fleets. By flying Boeing 767s for 30 years or more, airlines like Delta and United squeeze maximum returns from every airframe. This strategy allows them to keep larger fleets while still investing in modern widebodies like the Boeing 787 and Airbus A330. Even so, Delta and United continue to operate both their Boeing 767 and 757 fleets, balancing efficiency with cost effectiveness. While the 767 lags behind newer widebodies in fuel savings, its profitability keeps it in the skies. However, according to CH Aviation data, both Delta and United are preparing to wind down their iconic Boeing 767-300ER fleets by late 2027 or early 2028. United has already marked 2027 as the final chapter for its 16-strong fleet of 767-400ERs as well, while Delta intends to keep its 767-400ERs flying a little longer. Between them, Delta and United remain the world's largest operators of the type, with 66 and 53 active 767s still in their fleets respectively. But the clock is ticking. In just a few short years, scheduled 767 passenger flights across the US will fade into history. Right now, nearly 120 of the jets still serve travelers under the banners of Delta and United, but by 2028 that number will shrink to just 21, if not fewer, should Delta accelerate its retirements. By 2030, the once dominant widebody will likely vanish from US passenger skies altogether, closing the curtain on an aircraft that defined transatlantic travel for decades. As we look back in time, we know that the Boeing 757 and 767 were born as siblings, designed side by side to carry airlines into a new age. And while the 757 faded into history, the 767 endured, carrying more total orders and cementing its place in the skies. The 767, the wider-bodied sibling, held on longer, thanks in part to delays in the 787 program and its own adaptability as a freighter and military platform. Two aircraft, one legacy, but destinies that couldn't be farther apart. So that's a wrap. If you like this video, make sure to comment down below your thoughts on the legacy of the 757 and the 767. What do you think the future holds for twin-engine jets? We'd love to hear your thoughts.